you will experience the outward manifestations of your life, and you will be aware and perceive it through the root center. The root center correlates to the root chakra. It's what grounds us. It's what keeps us rooted, right, in our earth story. Really, though, ultimately, the root center is about influencing timing and influencing, well, it's influencing timing. And that will influence what we manifest, because there are some things that we intend or hope or try to create. And sometimes we don't ever create it because we don't create the fertile soil for the manifestations. You can prepare the soil by, first of all, making sure that whatever you're intending is something that brings you joy. Enough joy that even if it gets hard or you have to keep tweaking it, it's going to carry you through and make you continue to do the work. You can set the stage or prepare the soil by making sure your dream is big enough to call you forward. If you compromise or settle on your dream, especially if you're making it feasible, right? If you're like, well, I want this big juicy thing over here, but I don't know how to do that, so I'm just going to pick this little piddly dream over here. If you're doing that, you actually probably are not going to end up doing any of it, because it won't be big enough to excite you. And the universe is going to be like, nah, you don't actually really want that, do you? Right? And then you won't get it. Through the 3254, the root center says, you can get me ready for right timing if you do the work to be ready. That means, for example, if you have a business, build a website, get a bank account, get an LLC, do all the things necessary so that, and this is, by the way, independent of type, this is important for all types in business, set the stage so that when clients are ready to find you, you are ready to receive them, so that you've got all the parts and pieces in place. And that's not just about clients. It's, you've got to be laying setting the table, laying the foundation, preparing the soil, or setting the stage for you to be able to take the next step in your dream. And sometimes that's just about holding the energy, but oftentimes it's about actually doing the work, right? Actually doing the work to be ready. So if you're going to write a book, you can't sit there and wait for somebody to invite you to write a book so that you can become a bestseller. You actually have to do the work, right? And so that's part of preparing the way. The 5342 says to prepare the soil, you got to make sure you don't have any unfinished business. If there's no room for something new to show up, it's not going to show up. So you got to make sure you've taken care of all the hanging threads, all the loose things that you've been pushing to the back of the closet, all that stuff you stuck on the back burner, take care of it. The 63 says you got to be grateful for where you are right now. If you're standing around hating on your current life situation, it's not going to change. You can't change a situation you hate. So be grateful for where you are and notice the incremental steps, even if they're tiny, because they'll carry you through to expansion. The 952 says, is there anything that you need to focus on, or is there anything in your life that's distracting you from staying focused? Because if you're distracted and you're not holding your focus, it's going to be hard for you to create. The 1949 says you need community. You need people to stand in the gap of your faith. So when you have those days when you wake up with stinking thinking, and we all have them, you've got other people in your world around you who can stand behind you and support you and lift you up, so that you will get the support you need to span the gap until you find your faith again. The 3955 says you got to have faith. You got to trust that even if there's no evidence, that you're able to hold the vision no matter what. And the 4130 says, and you got to have a vision. You've got to have a vision of something big enough and beautiful enough and inspiring enough that connects to the passion of who you are. And that passion is going to be what lights your fire and keeps you growing and expanding. And if you've settled again and compromised for less than what you want, or you're paring down your dream because you think it's feasible and you're not following that thing that you're actually passionate about, it won't happen. Nothing will happen. You'll get stuck. So those are the themes of the root center.